Kennedy Mitchum is 22 years old. She just graduated from college. Ms. Mitchum grew up right outside Ferguson, Missouri, an important hub in this country in the fight for racial justice. And in her activism, in her discussions about race in America with her peers, Kennedy Mitchum kept hitting up against the same roadblock. It wasn't just that people were closed-minded or would not listen when she wanted to talk about racism. It was the literal definition of racism. This is how Merriam-Webster dictionary defines racism: a belief, a doctrine, or a prejudice based on the idea that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. But it doesn't take a racist belief or doctrine or prejudice for racism to exist. Racism in America is systemic. It's built in, regardless of what many people actually believe. You don't have to be actively racist to benefit from a racist system in the same way that you don't need to run on a train in order to be in motion. But that is the definition that some white people would show Kennedy Mitchum in arguments about race to prove to her that their actions were not racist. See, it's fine. The dictionary says so. So Kennedy Mitchum set out to change the definition of racism. Late last month, Ms. Mitchum emailed the editors at Merriam-Webster. She asked them to update their definition of racism to, quote, represent the true meaning of what racism is. Kennedy Mitchum got a response from the editors the next day. This is what they told her, quote, we have concluded that omitting any mention of the systemic aspects of racism does a disservice to readers of all races because people often turn to the dictionary to gain a more nuanced view of the way a word is being used in a particular context. Ignoring this meaning of the word may leave our readers confused or misled. A revision to the entry for racism is now being drafted to be added to the dictionary soon, and we are also planning to revise the entries of other words that are related to racism or have racial connotations. The editors went on to say that without Kennedy Mitchum's persistence, these revisions would not have been made. Joining us now, Kennedy Mitchum, a recent graduate of Drake University who got Merriam-Webster to change its definition of racism. Kennedy, 22 years old, and you're already in the history books. You've already made a significant change, and this one is important. This one's important. Tell me in your own words what you believe racism should be defined as.
Racism is built in our society. It should be defined as not only prejudice, but as well as systemic oppression upon a group of people. That's what it should be defined as. And I think that once that change is made, that we all can come to a better understanding and see its role in society as it is now.
So when we talk about racism, or let's say when we talk about something more specifically like reparations, one of the things people say is that I didn't enslave anybody. I didn't have any slaves. Why have I got to do something about this? And racism is similar. There are folks who say that because I don't do something that seems actively racist in the course of the day, collectively there may not be racism, or I don't subscribe to it. And in your emails, you were very careful to distinguish individual racism and systemic racism. Why do you think people don't get the difference?
I think they don't want to get the difference. I think they just want to be ignorant. And I understand ignorance is bliss, but it's not reality. And if you really care about the people in this world, all people of color, then you should want to try to understand where we're coming from when we say, racism is systemic. Racism is deeply rooted in a lot of things, and racism is killing people. People are dying. That's why I think that I took out to really try this time, even though I was up against, Merriam-Webster, which is a very well-known, very prominent dictionary, because it's very important in this climate. There's no time to be ignorant. We have to all be on the same page. We're never going to move forward, and there's going to be another Black man after another Black man dying if we all don't understand that the systems that are in place that are harming individuals.
What did you expect to happen when you sent Merriam-Webster an email?
I did not expect anything. I just thought I was going to get, maybe a little spam reply to my email. It was a really pleasant surprise that they did email me back and so fast. And especially since throughout the whole conversation, they were really stern with, the way that they operate. And they kept saying that the petitions or someone reaching out to them would not, make any type of changes. So I really had no hope at all.
I imagine, I hope when they first publish this, either they're going to send you one or you're going to buy it. I mean, this is a big deal. It's a small matter, but it's actually a big deal because what we look up, I mean, I do the same thing. You look something up in a dictionary and you prove to someone that they're wrong about it. That's what we use.
Yes, exactly. And that's what's so important. Like, we have to understand that whether we all come from different backgrounds, we all have different experiences. So why are you not trying to understand me? Why are you just pointing to a dictionary? Like, we have lived experiences, This is not just, you can't just go to the dictionary and, you're going to understand racism. So I really hope that after they look at the new definition that they can really at least try to understand instead of, trying to be ignorant, because I think that that's what people really trying to understand and become allies. That's what really will push us forward.
I think it's amazing. And what you said a few minutes ago, you said there's no time to be ignorant. And I think that's exactly right. There is no time to be ignorant. Kennedy, we are indebted to you. And for years, I will tell the story of what happened in 2020. And I will append it by saying, and they changed the definition of racism. Thank you to you. Kennedy Mitchum is a recent graduate of Drake University who got Merriam-Webster to change the definition of racism. Thank you for your time tonight, Kennedy.